be 17 at the end of October of this year. But normally you count horses' birthdays as the first of every year, but that's for like the purposes of like show horses and race horses to keep everybody kind of in line with ages. So they all age at the same time. But since she was born at such a weird time, because horses are supposed to be born in the spring and she was late October, I go by her actual birthday. So I have had her since she was in her mom's womb and raised and trained her. I ended up selling her to save another horse's life, and it ended up being a bad deal for her. So it took me 2 years to get her back. And then I was in college at the time, so I couldn't afford 3 horses. And long story short, gave her to my friend who passed her around a little bit. So she's been to quite a few different homes. And I've tried to keep track of her for the last 13 years. And I finally, last year, after 13 years, got her back. So she is spicy as ever. Like, sometimes it's hard to believe she's 17 with how many bucks she likes to throw at me, crazy lady. And I need you to let out a little more air. Wait. I'm sorry. I guess probably a lot of people don't realize you have to keep up with their feet being trimmed. My horses are barefoot, thank God, because I have Mustangs, so they have a little bit tougher feet. But you may have to get shoes, which is an additional cost. And that gets pretty pricey. You got to do it every 6 weeks. You have to get their teeth filed down. People don't realize that either. It's called a float. You get a horse's teeth floated, but really they're filing them down because horses' teeth will like keep growing, and you'll get sharp edges and stuff that can cause issues either with them eating or in the bit and cause discomfort. So life expectancy on horses, I guess, kind of varies because you'll usually have people want to retire them in their 20s. And usually if horses live to 30, people are, wow, that's so old. My first horse died when he was 31, but I've definitely seen horses make it to their 40s. I've seen some ponies make it to their 50s, but it's really all about care. Genetics too, but definitely the care that they're getting. And I'm a big proponent for as natural as possible. So I'm not giving my horses like tons of grains and stuff. And if I wasn't in Arizona, they'd be on grass. But there's no grass here, as you can see. So. But I expect her mom to make it to 40. So she'll probably be close around there. And then my gelding, I don't think he'll make it as long. I think he'll be more like 30 years old, and he's 22. Her mom's 23, and she's almost 17. Jake right here is a mare, which she has a boy name because I named her after my first horse who passed. But Jake is a mare, so she's just a female. A gelding is a male horse that's been castrated, so he no longer has his balls. A male horse that has not been castrated is a stallion. And you don't usually fix females unless you do an ovarectomy because the mare acts like a stallion, which sometimes she does.
Yeah.
She would be a proponent, but I don't show or race on her, so it's not really, doesn't hinder us too much. We get around all right. Just fight a little bit sometimes because she's a lady. You need to keep up on, exercising them like you would a dog, but it's a little bit different, obviously, because it's a horse. But as you can see here, I've only been able to exercise lately once a week, and she's quite spicy from that. With the way my work schedule is. crazy lady. And just be prepared to have a horse make a liar out of you. You're gonna say, oh, my horse would never do this, da, 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 and immediately your horse does it. Or if you taught your horse a trick, you're like, look at what my horse does, all of a sudden your horse doesn't know how to do it. So horses like to make liars out of you, and they like to try and die on you. I came out of the womb just in love with horses. It was my first word for who knows what reason, because I did not come from a horse family or anything. I had to figure that out on my own. So I quit everything I was doing in like grade school to take one horse riding lesson a week. Kind of outgrew that, and I found someone that would let me lease a horse when I was in middle school. So I started leasing a horse, and eventually those people, when I was in high school, or almost high school, they gave him to me. But then I ended up moving. So he passed 2 weeks after I moved, and then a few months later I found Yazi, which is her mom, and I've had her since 2008. So 17 years I've had her mom. And yeah, and I'm, how old am I? 32? So, I don't know, everyone thinks that you need to have, like, you have to come from a family that has horses and stuff, but, or that, I always get told I'm so lucky I have horses and everything, but I just did this. I decided horses were going to be my whole life, and I didn't care what I had to do to make that happen, and so that's what I did. So everyone says I'm really lucky, but I just worked really hard and made a lot of sacrifices so I could afford to have now 3 horses. I need more.